All right, guys. So this is Bana's last part of the testimony. Her last part was June 5th, yesterday. So I was recording this yesterday. I was really too tired to release it yesterday and edit it. So we're doing it right now. I am working on Jane Doe's statement as we speak. So I'm recording that right now for the first part, and hopefully we'll get the transcripts for tonight to record the rest of what was happening today. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you have not watched the first part of this, which the thumbnail looks a little something like this. I've posted it up. It's in the description box. This would be a second part to this, right? The cross-examination from the defense. Very important. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you guys later. Do you guys remember earlier today when we found out that the judge had reprimanded, or at least called to the attention that Diddy was like looking vigorously at the jury and there was an issue there? Well, very early in the morning, before all of that happened, there was a statement made by the court that I want to read to you guys. Okay. And this is today's transcripts. Today is June 5th. All right. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button and supporting the channel. But it starts first, just a reminder to the parties and to everyone who is in here in the court. While this is a large courtroom, we are all packed in here and we have a lot of jurors. So I want to remind everyone to make sure that you are minding your facial expressions, and there should be no attempts from anyone here to interact with, communicate with, or influence the jury. And I've reminded and asked the security here that's in the courtroom as well, that the court staff to monitor this conduct and report on any violations. If there are any violations, the court will take swift action. So this was advised early in the morning. Okay. Now, another piece of information: early in the morning, they had somebody from the press, still trying to make a case about information being released and whatnot. And basically, the court said, I'm denying all of this at this moment. So they kind of moved on from there. And now, this is the part that I really want us to get into. Okay. We were talking about Bana, and early in the morning, there was some confusion about, at least I was confused, I'll speak for myself, about text messages, right? Did the government possess text messages that showed that Cassie told KK, Christina Coram, CEO, head of Bad Boy, one of the many execs of Bad Boy, right? Did a message exist that Cassie told KK about Bana dangling from a balcony? Or at least something was dangling from a balcony, her feet or something, right? That is the question. Well, the government gets into that piece of information here, and let's read. And then specifically, they talk about admission about this information. So the court starts. Well, first, let me hear the basis for admission, okay? This is under 801 D1B, or Ms. Slavic for the government speaks. Your Honor, I think there are multiple bases for admission. First, as Your Honor pointed out, this is a prior consistent of Miss Ventura. The declarant, Miss Ventura, testified and was in fact subject to cross-examination on this very statement. The defense crossed Miss Ventura on this statement. As Your Honor can see with the exhibit on the screen, Miss Ventura recounts an incident and says, he came into my house with my friends, were here, and we were all sleeping. They woke me up because he was ringing the bell crazy at 3 a.m. And when he came in, I went to my room and he went at Bana and choked her and then dangled her feet off the balcony. This is crazy. I have to stay awake. Government speaks that this shows Cassie Ventura's state of mind. The content of the message, it's not only relates to the incident, but also immediately proves Ms. Ventura's reaction to the incident. In other words, this is crazy. I have to stay away. Oh, this is crazy. I have to stay away. So, Your Honor, I think this is important in that it shows Ms. Ventura's state of mind. The content of the message, it's not only relays on the incident, but it immediately proves Ms. Ventura's reaction to the incident. In other words, this is crazy. I have to stay away. Here, I think that Ms. Ventura is expressing her fear of Mr. Combs to Ms. Coram, who is an agent and a co-conspirator of Mr. Combs. Government said it itself. KK Christina Coram is a co-conspirator of Mr. Combs. This message shows Coram's knowledge of Miss Ventura's fear. In other words, this message is used to show the effect on the listener, Miss Coram, and under those several bases, the government position is that the screenshot is admissible. Okay? The government further argues is that the relevance of this incident, which took place squarely in the middle of a conspiracy, is that it shows Mr. Combs' violent directed not only to Miss Ventura, but to other people around Miss Ventura. She is aware of this violence, and because of her awareness, I think that contributes to the coercive atmosphere. Now, Miss Shapiro, who is for the defense, is not having it whatsoever. Miss Shapiro is basically saying, like, I don't think so. So she says, Your Honor, first of all, I would like to give the court a little more context than the government provided. What happened was that on direct, Ms. Ventura testified that she personally observed this alleged balcony incident. And the cross-examination was designed to impeach that testimony because, in fact, she did not observe it as this. If this text even relates to it, this text makes clear that the text is hearsay within hearsay. She says that these are parts she says, and these are parts that, interestingly, the government chose not to read to Your Honor at the beginning. And she reads, Hey, I just found out some crazy ish. And then she describes the things the government wants it. And then at the end, she says, I'm just finding out right now. So the defense is like, wait a minute. Cassie, this is hearsay on hearsay, right? Cassie didn't see the event. This is a message that she sent to Coram, Chris KK. So I think it's an important point to kind of make out. Like, she didn't actually see this. Cassie did not see this event, but she sent a message about this event. So she might have talked to Bana, or she might have found out somehow, if that makes sense. Defense further goes, and we also don't know when this text was sent. But most importantly, she's reporting what someone else told her. We don't even know who told her because she says she came into my house while my friends were here and we were all sleeping. So it's hearsay within hearsay, because at best for the government, she's potentially reporting that Miss Bana told her. And so that in itself is a hearsay problem. And this is where she makes her statement about this is like a backwards type of looking statement. This is what the defense is saying. It's backwards because it's hearsay within hearsay. Court says, no, I understand. All right, let's do this. So as they're going through this text message, right, another thing that's pointed out about this text message is that there's a reference about Bana pressing charges. Like, you could press charges, something to that effect about this. So from this, I mean, they kind of went back and forth, and then they moved on to a different topic early in the morning. So Ms. Westmoreland continues questioning Bana on the stand. Okay, so we're going to start right here, and we're going to kind of skip through just the more relevant parts because it'll make it easier for this video. Let's go. You remember when the government showed you this photo on direct yesterday? True? Yes. And this photo was the photo shoot where you said that Mr. Combs threatened you. True? Yes, ma'am. And the date of this photo is April 24th, 2016. You agree? It could be on or around. Okay, so close to that time. Yes. Miss Bana, is that in front of you? Can you see it? Yes, ma'am. Just one page at a time, please. All right, I want you to look at the top. You recognize your number there? Yes. And you recognize the other number there? I understand who it is, but I don't remember the number. Okay. So this is admitted into evidence, and Miss Westmoreland continues. All right, ma'am. You see here it says 2 participants at the top. True? Yes. And the first participant, Cass, you see that? True? Yes, ma'am. And that's Cass, right? I would assume it is, right? And you see the second person, Bana, that's you. True? Yes, ma'am. And you see this date is May 10, 2016? Yes. What is that? I don't remember, but it looks like rugs. What kind of rugs? I wouldn't know at that moment, but some type of rugs. Okay, and you see that at the top of the screen it says Bana at the top of the picture. So this text would be from you, true? Yes. So you're sending Miss Ventura this text. Yes. And this is about 10 days between a week or two, right? After allegedly Mr. Combs, you said that he made those statements to you at the photo shoot. You would agree with that, true? Yes. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Combs, you said that he made those threats at the end of April. But you continued. And Miss Ventura was his girlfriend at the time, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. But you just continue keeping your friendship with Miss Ventura's business as usual, true? Could you explain that, please? This is a week later. You're still dealing with Miss Ventura, right? Objection. It's overruled. True? Yes. Okay. Okay. I want to show you another document. Okay. Ma'am, you see your phone number up on the top. You recognize your number? Yes, ma'am. All right. And you see the other number up on the top also? You recognize that? Yes. Okay. So more exhibits get admitted into the defense. Let's discuss this text. You see that on the top two? You see at the top two participants? Yes. And those participants would be yourself and Cassie. Yes. And you see the date is May 31st, 2016. True? Yes, ma'am. Okay. What what's this picture? Looks like some type of rug again. Well, some type of or several. It looks like a few rugs. Yeah. Could you please tell us what rugs those are? I can't tell by the picture. Okay. Yeah. But this text message would be from you, true? Yes. Okay. To Cassie? Yes. Okay. Okay, but you're still doing rugs with Cassie or texting about rugs on May 31st, 2016, right? Yes. Okay. Now, you're telling us, according to you, that Mr. Combs threatened your life a few weeks before that post, right? Objection from the government. Hold on one sec, says the court. It's overruled. Could you say the question again? Yes. I mean, you told all of us that at the end of April 2016 that Mr. Combs threatened your life. That's what you said, right? Yes, ma'am. So in the weeks to follow, you were just continuing on dealing with Cassie, right? Yes. Weren't you scared to weren't you scared to do that? I guess not. I guess not. Okay. So I want to go back to where we left off yesterday in reference to the balcony, okay? Okay. All right. Now you testified that Mr. Combs hung you over the balcony, right? Yes, he held me over the balcony. Okay. He held you over the balcony and then he threw you into some furniture. True? Yes. And you said that Cassie Ventura witnessed this. I said I heard her voice as I was getting thrown. Okay, wait. I want to make sure we're clear. You're not saying that Cassie saw this. I don't know. You don't know? I can't speak for her. Okay. Isn't it true that you told the government on several different occasions that Miss Ventura saw this? I spoke to them, but again, I don't recall. You don't recall? No, ma'am. Okay. All right. And you said that that's a result of Mr. Combs and what happened on the balcony incident that you hurt your leg, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And you said that you hurt your back, true? Yes. And you said you hurt your neck? Yes. Okay. And you said you testified yesterday you had night terrors, true? Yes. And you suffer from nightmares? Yes. And that you recently, I mean, as of days ago, was having nightmares about this, right? Yes. About the balcony incident, just in general. In general, okay. Are you? And you testified that the attorney Tyrone, you remember him? I remember him. You explained to us yesterday that some of the things, some of the injuries in the demand letter that you knew they weren't accurate. True. I knew that things aren't accurate. I just don't know how exactly which ones you're talking about. Okay. Well, yesterday I asked you some questions about some claims that was made on your behalf in the lawsuit. True? Yes. And one of those claims that I asked you questions about was that demand allege that Mr. Combs grabbed you, roped you, your area, um, Do you remember when I asked you about that yesterday? Objection, Your Honor. Objection from the government. Yeah, I think we need to rephrase the question, maybe take a step back. Miss Westmoreland responds, okay. There might be some confusion with what you're asking about, says the court. Sure. So Mr. Tyrone was your lawyer, right? Yes. Okay. And you're aware that in one of his demand letters sent on your behalf, he alleged that Mr. Combs grabbed and squeezed your areas so hard that you had bruises. I don't remember. Okay, you don't remember what exactly? I don't remember all the context in his like claims, writings, papers. Okay. So you're saying, well, let me just ask, you know, you're saying that that's true or not? I'm saying that many of the things he said was incorrect. I'm asking you about that one. The bruises on my chest, that Mr. Combs squeezed your area so hard that it left bruises on your areas. Is that true or not? That's incorrect. That's incorrect. Okay. And because of the claims like that, you testified yesterday that that's why you fired Mr. Tyrone. True. Yes. True. Yes. Okay. And you hired a new civil lawyer, right? Yes. Okay. And they drafted a lawsuit for you. True? Yes. And you reviewed that lawsuit, correct? To the best of my ability, yes. And also, you're aware that in the lawsuit with your new civil lawyers, there's still claims of SA on your behalf. You're aware of that. True? Objection from the government. It's overruled. I'm aware. Okay. You spoke to the government about the civil lawsuit. You spoke to the government April 9th, 2025. True? I don't remember the date, but yes, I spoke to them. Okay. When you spoke to the government, you told them that Mr. Combs grabbed your areas, right? I told them where he placed his hand. So the first time you spoke to the government before the demand letter went out, before a lawsuit was filed, you never alleged that Mr. Combs grabbed your areas. Isn't that true? Again, I don't remember. Okay. Let me see if I can refresh your memory. Can you pull up document and go to this page? All right. You can look at the whole page, but you can look at paragraph 3, and I will show you paragraph 4. I was just okay. Next paragraph. Okay. Okay. All right. So, would you like me to repeat my question? Yes, please. When you met with the government, your first time, January 18th, 2024, you spoke about this a balcony incident. True? Yes, from what I've seen. And you never told the government, you never claimed that Mr. Combs grabbed your areas in any shape, form, or fashion, did you? I don't remember. Okay. Well, you don't deny that you did an interview in January. True? Yes. And you had your lawyer there with you, right? Yes. As a matter of fact, Mr. Tyrone was there, wasn't he? Yes, he was. Objection. Court says, hold on. Okay, objection is overruled, and you got your answer. So, Miss Westmoreland, thank you, Your Honor. And the prosecution was there, right? The prosecutors? Yes. The same prosecutors that did your direct? Yes. Okay. You understand that there was someone there taking notes. You understand that, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And you would agree with me that making a claim of that nature would be a big deal, pretty important. Objection, that's sustained. Okay, ma'am. Isn't it true that your lawyer Tyrone alleged for the first time essay, and although you knew that wasn't true, you started repeating that story? Objection from the government. Overruled. Can you say that again, please? Ma'am, isn't it true that although your lawyer, Mr. Tyrone, started that story about the essay, and even though you knew it wasn't true, you started repeated, repeating it? Sorry, can you rephrase that? Okay. Isn't it true that although your lawyer, Mr. Tyrone, started that story, that essay, you knew it wasn't true? You fired him, but then you kept that lie. Isn't that true? Objection from the government. Your Honor, I'll rephrase. Miss Moreland wants to rephrase. Let me see if I can help, says the court. All right. Court says maybe if you break it down, then I think you can ask the question that you're trying to ask. Absolutely, Judge. After your first interview with the government, you're aware that Tyrone sent a letter on your behalf. Isn't that true? Yes. And you're aware that he put multiple claims in the demand letter that just wasn't true, right? Yes, ma'am. And you fired him because of that. True? Yes. And he, Mr. Blackburn, Tyrone Blackburn, he's the one who alleged on your behalf that Mr. Combs essayed you. True? I just don't, I can't speak for him. So I'm having a hard time answering the question. Don't worry. I want you to speak for you, okay? Okay. All right. Your attorney, Tyrone, he started that essay story, but you kept that even though you knew it was a lie. True? Objection from the government. That's overruled. That word started, it's hard to agree with everything you're saying. All right. Please take start out of it. Whatever started, you continue to accuse Mr. Combs of essaying you, even though you knew that wasn't true. Bana responds, sorry, it's really hard to commit to the whole sentence because those parts that are true, but the way you're asking the question, it's hard to answer because I don't agree with it at all. Okay, man. What is your understanding that claiming essay was the only way you could file a lawsuit? Objection from the government. Court says that needs to be rephrased. And if you want to ask a question along these lines, okay, Miss Westmoreland continues, ma'am, you believe, did you believe that the only way for you to file a lawsuit was to say that Mr. Combs essayed you? Objection from the government. Overruled. I don't recall. Okay, let's go back to the balcony, all right? Okay. You didn't make a police report, did you? No. You didn't call the police? No, I did not. Well, you were, according to you, you were hung over the balcony and you were screaming for your dear life, right? Objection. That's sustained. You were screaming. Can you re say that? You were screaming. Yes, I was screaming back. Okay. Are you aware of anyone else calling the police? I have no idea. Okay. Now, this was a building you were at Cassie Ventura's home, right? This happened there, right? Yes. And this place is a building, true? Yes. Other tenants there, you're aware? I suppose, I guess. Okay. And you didn't go to the hospital, did you? No. What about you didn't go to an urgent care? No, ma'am. Okay. And you testified at some point you went to a chiropractor. Yes, I went. You didn't tell the chiropractor what happened? No, I was scared. You were scared? Yes, ma'am. Okay. You testified that your girlfriend put those bandages on you, true? Yes. Okay. And when you went to the chiropractor, they didn't professionally put bandages on you or anything? No, I hurried out. You hurried out? Yes, ma'am. With a neck brace, it was given to me. Okay. All right. You were hurt? Yes. Really hurt? Yes. Okay. And you took that neck brace that you put it on? The chiropractor showed me how to put it on. Okay. And the girlfriend that you said put the bandages on you? Yes. That's the same girlfriend that was there the night of the incident? Yes. Yes. What's her name? She goes by Sarah or Friday. Ma'am, not what she goes by. Can you please provide her first and last name? I believe it's Sarah Seidel. It was a while ago. And you didn't tell her this night of like you that you said this happened? You didn't tell Miss Sarah about it? No, again, I didn't want to involve her. Okay. Okay. And isn't it true when you met with the government that you warned them that the girlfriend that you said was there, she wouldn't know anything about you being hurt or injured by Mr. Combs, right? Objection. That's overruled. Could you say the question again? Sure. When you interviewed with the government, you warned them that the girlfriend you claim was there, she wouldn't know anything about any injuries that you said that Mr. Combs did to you. Okay. Your Honor, objection to warned. Okay. Question says, could you rephrase? You told the government, well, let's back up a little bit. The government asked you who was there, right? Yes, ma'am. And you told them that a girl named Friday was there, right? Yes. Okay, not Tiffany Red, like with Miss Ventura. Not her. All right. And you told the government in advance that the girlfriend, Friday, that she didn't know about the allegations you were making. True? I don't remember. Okay. So after you claimed that Mr. Combs caused you all this, the injuries, you continued to go around him. Yeah, when we were around, it wasn't often. You said yes. I'm sorry. Yes, it was sporadic when I hung out with him, so it wasn't often, but I was around him. It wasn't often, but you what? I was around him. So you weren't too scared to go around him. I kept my distance. You kept your distance? Okay, well, all right. Objection from the government. Objection to commentary, Your Honor. My apologies, Your Honor. All right. You told us yesterday that your 8-hour Kellogg day, right? Yes. And you told us that was after the injuries that you showed us, right? Yes. Okay. That was around Mr. Combs, right? Yes. You kept your distance during this 8-hour Kellogg fest. Yes. Like like I was saying yesterday, I felt like we were trying to get along. So I picked and chose. Okay, well, isn't it true that you told the government that after doing 8 hours of Kellogg's, that you and Mr. Combs sat down and shared a blunt together? I do remember that. Okay, so it's your testimony that Mr. Combs did these horrific things to you, and then you later sat down and shared a blunt with him. True? Yeah, sometime later. It was sometime later? Yeah. Okay. All right. I want to ask you some questions about some other times. Okay. Okay. I want to take you back to October 4th, 2016. Okay. Yes. And you would agree that October 4th, 2016 is just 8 days after September 26th? Yeah, I agree. Okay. Isn't it true that on October 4th of 2016 that you went to Mr. Combs' concert? I don't know the date, but I did attend a concert. Okay. Let's see if I can show you this document to refresh your memory. Please review that and look at me when you're finished. Okay. Does this refresh your memory that you went to Mr. Combs' concert on October 4th, 2016? The texts don't really remind me that I went, but I know I went. You did? Yeah. All right. Did you sit on the front row or backstage? Kind of everywhere? Yeah. Kind of everywhere? Like everywhere at Mr. Combs' concert? Yes, ma'am. Weren't you too scared to do that? No, I was helping as much as I could. You were helping. Yeah. Okay, close proximity to Mr. Combs. I don't think I was around him most of the time, but yeah. You watched him perform? What was that? Did you watch him perform? I don't know if I watched him perform. All right. Okay. All right. Let's discuss November 5th. Now we're a few days past a week when you said this happened to you. Okay. Okay. And you went to a club, Bootsy Bellows. True. I don't know, but I've been to that club. Okay. Well, you recall that October 5th, there was a private party that you attended. Do you recall that? I don't know if it was a private party, but I remember attending something at Bootsy Bellows. Okay. Let me show you something to see if that would refresh your memory. Okay. All right. Please look at me when you're done. Yes, I see. You see it? I'm there. All right. Please turn to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury and tell them who rented out the club that night. Oh, I mean it's Sean Combs. Mr. Combs. Yeah. All right. So you're testifying that Mr. Combs caused you significant injuries, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm saying true. Yes. All right. And about a week or so later, you go to Mr. Combs' private party. True? Yes. Okay. And you club with him. Objection from the government. Overruled. I attended a club, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't like, I mean, I really don't remember. I know going, I know attending. I went to his event, but yeah. Okay. You weren't too fearful enough to not go to Mr. Combs' event, were you? I know always had like a feeling inside, but yeah, I went. So you had that neck brace on? Probably not. You're not sure? I'm not sure. So you may have had the neck brace on that night. Yeah, probably not there, but I don't think I would want to be seen with a neck brace. Okay. So your neck wasn't so hurt that you needed to have your neck brace on when you attended Mr. Combs' private parties about a week or so later. Objection from the government. That's overruled. Could you re-say that? Sure. Your neck was not so hurt where you needed to wear that neck brace when you were going to Mr. Combs' private party a week or so later after this alleged incident. True? I probably should have and didn't. Okay. You probably should have because your neck was still hurt. I can't recall. Okay. All right. So you took a picture and you would agree with me that you took a picture in that neck brace and then you took it off? Yes. All right. And you would agree with me that you went back to partying with Mr. Combs. I partied. I mean, not with him. Okay. That incident? Okay. That incident, yes. Now, while you were at the club, you were drinking. I don't remember. You told your rug dealer, RayJ, to bring some rugs to the club. Do you remember that? I don't know what happened. I don't know why. His name is RayJ, but I don't remember. Okay, all right. Can you please pull the documents? All right. Can you look at the top and you recognize that number? Yes. At the top. Yes. And you recognize the other numbers or some of the other numbers listed at the top. I know the names. Okay. Numbers I can't remember. Okay. They admitted to evidence documents. I like to read this out loud. I'll be the green and you can be the blue, okay? Okay. All right. All right. So the green says, Cassie, hola. You ladies want to come? You ladies want to have wine, smoke, cooking, catch up, sleepover? She responds, I was just about to hit you, LOL. Okay. Objection. Government objects. I think it's misleading. Okay. The text. Okay, so Miss Westmoreland continues with her questioning. I'll read Cass and you read yourself. Is that okay? Okay, all right. So the court interjects and says, basically giving some direction. Why don't you ask this witness the questions you want to ask her? You have this in evidence. If you need to read something from the document, you can. Miss Westmoreland responds, okay. And your response on page 2 is, yeah, we can at like 8. Do you agree? Yes, that's all there. Okay. So Cassie's asking you if you want to come over and have a sleepover. Asking Yance and I, yes. Okay. And did you see the date was October 9th? I'm sorry, could you please publish that back on the date, please? So she's talking about the exhibits. I see the date. Okay. So on October 9th, less than 2 weeks after your allege that Mr. Combs caused you significant injuries and terror, you were willing to go back to the exact same place, the apartment, to spend the night. Yeah, yeah. You said yes? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm going to focus on the top. Do you see the phone number there? Do you recognize that? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And you see the other number on the top, true? Yes. Okay. Ma'am, you will read Bana and I will read Cass. So they're gonna read some text messages. Yes, I could do that. All right. I don't really know what I wrote, to be honest. Maybe it says 15 mgs. Roxanne's. Okay, do you know what that is? No, ma'am. Coolio? What are you and Friday hungry for? And you won't be here until 8? Let me think. And 7, 8ish. Still here, almost done designing. KK hit me later. Love ya. Thank you for yesterday. Love ya. Oh, I'm gonna go grab you newborn and raise soon. He wants some. Question mark, question mark. Okay. The hoodie you like? Yeah. Ma'am, isn't P Mr. Combs? Yes. So you're asking Cassie if P for Puffy, right? Yes. And you're asking if he could like a sweatshirt? Yes, I did. And you're alleging that Mr. Combs, just 2 weeks prior to this, hung you over a balcony, threw you into furniture, you sustained severe injuries, and now you're asking if he liked a t-shirt? Objection, overruled. Yeah, like I said, we had a FaceTime and we were trying to be cool. Okay. Can you repeat that again? Which part? What you just said. Your explanation of why you did this. Um, we had a FaceTime after the incident, right? And I believe I stated like I don't want no problems, and this shows me that I was trying to be cool. Ma'am, isn't it true that you told the government that in a FaceTime call after this alleged balcony incident that you and Mr. Combs didn't even discuss the balcony? I don't remember. Okay. Ma'am, isn't it true that you continue to hang out around Mr. Combs and spend the night at Cassie Ventura's house because Mr. Combs did not cause you those injuries? Isn't that true? Objection. Overruled. Could you rephrase that? Ma'am, isn't it true that you continue to hang out with Mr. Combs and you continue to spend the night at Miss Ventura's house because Mr. Combs did not cause you those injuries? Isn't that true? Part of the statement is correct. Part of that statement I don't agree with. Okay. All right. You recognize your phone number up on the top, yes? Yes. And you see the number email address behind you? Yes. All right. This text message, you agreed that it's from October 15, 2016. Yes, ma'am. Okay. This message is from Mr. Combs to you. That's what it seems like. Okay. And I'll read it. When friends get high with each other, not supposed to let friends F up and not try to stop them. You're real whack to me for that. If you're going to do K with her, at least have her back. Real whack. Do you remember receiving this text message? I remember receiving them. Okay. We'll take that down. All right. You were under the impression that Mr. Combs really wanted you to stop doing so much rugs with Cassie. Isn't that true? I can't speak for him. I asked you if you were under the impression. Could you rephrase that? Do you feel like Mr. Combs wanted you to stop doing so much rugs with Cassie? It's confusing because of everything going on. All right. Let's talk about the photos of your injuries, okay? Okay. So now one photo you turned over these photos to the government. True? True. All right. And one photo was a picture of your leg, right? Yes. Okay. And you described that leg as being on the back of your thigh. True? Somewhere the back of my leg, yes. And you described it as a deep cut with some bruising around it. True? I said it was a big bruise with like, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was some type of piercing. Okay. And you told the government that this balcony incident happened early in the morning. True? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And that the photo was taken later that day at your apartment. True? Yes, ma'am. And that you were alone when you took the photo, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And then you provided another photo, the one with you in the neck brace, right? Yes, ma'am. The bandages? And you explained that the photo was airdropped or texted to you. True? I explained that because I couldn't remember. So, but that's what you said. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so you told the government that during an interview, right? Sorry, say that again. You told the government that during an interview that it was airdropped or texted to you. True? Yes. And you testified to that yesterday, right? Yes. And you testified yesterday that both of those injuries happened on the same day. True? Sorry, say that again. You testified yesterday on direct that you were shown both of your photos, right? Yes, ma'am. And the madam prosecutor asked you about the second photo. That was the one with your back and your neck. You remember that? Right? Yes. And she asked you if both of those injuries happened on the same day. And you testified it did. True? Yes. Okay. Can you please make the date big for us, enlarge it so they're exchanging exhibits? All right. And you agree with me that this is Monday, September 26, 2016. True? Yes. At about 9:45 a.m. True? Yes. And this is the metadata from your phone, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Um, and at the bottom of the exhibit, it shows that this is a phone, Apple phone 7, right? Yes. And it shows your location. True? Yeah. Okay. And this is the metadata from your phone, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay. You could take that down. Ma'am, are you familiar with the Bad Boy Reunion tour? Aren't you? Yes. Because you worked at the tour on a portion of it, true? I worked on it unofficially. Okay. But you worked on it, right? Yeah. And you started it, but you didn't finish the tour, right? Could you explain further? You told the government you started on the tour, but you didn't finish it. True? I don't really understand what you're saying. Okay, you worked on some portions of the Bad Boy tour. True? Like I didn't attend certain dates. Right. But you attended some of them. Maybe like one? Okay. Maybe two, maybe one. Do you remember Cassie's travel schedule during the month of September? No. Do you remember Mr. Combs' travel schedule during the month of September? No. Okay. I'd like to show you some documents to see if it'll refresh your memory. Could you please show the parties only? Objection, Your Honor. There's no failure of memory here. Miss Westmoreland speaks. Your Honor, she says she didn't remember. Okay. No, says Miss Smizer. Miss Westmoreland, you may proceed. You're going to put a document in front of the witness. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry. That's okay. We're going to put a document to refresh the witness's recollection. Just to refresh the witness, yes. All right. I'm going to do a few documents. Okay. After you finish reviewing, please look up at me. All right. Okay, let's take that down. Can you please pull up the exhibits? Some more exhibits are pulled up. Miss Bana, you know that Mr. Combs performed at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, September 25th. True? 2016? True? I don't know personally, but I see. And you're aware that Mr. Combs and Cassie were in New Jersey on September 25th, 2016. True? Objection? Government objects. I don't know personally, but I see. And you're aware that Mr. Combs and Cassie were in New Jersey on September 25th, 2016. True? Objection. Judge says overruled. I'm not aware. All right. You're aware that Bad Boy Reunion Tour was going on in September of 2016. True? I know it was going on, but I'm not for sure on dates. Ma'am, you're aware that Mr. Combs was on the stage on the night of the 25th at the Bad Boy Reunion Tour performance alongside with Little Kim? Objection. Is that a question? The court asked. Okay. And it keeps going. True. Can you re-say that? Ma'am, you're aware that Mr. Combs on September 25th was performing on stage at the Bad Boy Reunion Tour with artist Little Kim. I can't recall. In New Jersey, you can't recall? No, ma'am. All right. Well, are you aware that on September 26th, Mr. Combs and Cassie were in New York at the Boys and Girls Harbor Salute to Achievement benefit? Are you aware of that? Objection. Let's have a very brief sidebar, says the court. Okay. So in this sidebar, Ms. Meiser is from the government is concerned that counsel is essentially testifying here. She put several documents in front of the witness. They're all hearsay. She tried to refresh her recollection, but it hasn't worked. But she continues to testify about what is in those documents. Okay. The court is kind of like, well, she's asking it in the proper way, which is to ask the witness if she has an understanding, given that she was aware of the tour of Mr. Combs' whereabouts. And she's permitted to ask in a leading way and hasn't referenced the content of any of the documents that were put in front of the witness. Okay. But the court says, I'll be watching if there's anything further here. So they get back to the questioning. I don't believe that you had the opportunity to answer the question I just asked you. I'll repeat it for you. Okay. Please. All right. Are you aware that on September 26th, Mr. Combs and Cassie was at a New York at the Boys and Girls Harbor Salute to the Achievement Benefit Award? Not aware. Are you aware that on September 26th, Mr. Combs with the Bad Boy reunion tour was also doing a signing at Macy's? Not aware. Ma'am, did you see that at the top of the document? So there's more exhibits and more documents. Ma'am, do you see that on the top of the document that it says Mr. Frank Black? I see it. Okay. Do you know who that is? No. No? All right. You see the top, it says Trump International Hotel and Tower, New York. Do you see that? Yeah. Okay. Can you please go to the arrival and departure? Do you see that it says arrival September 24th, 2016, with the departure of September 29th, 2016? I see that. You see that. All right. So let's go up the page a little bit. Okay. And then let's go to 925 breakfast. Thank you. Do you see on here that the room charged breakfast and September 25th, 2016? I see it. Okay. Can we go down? And I'm sorry, September 26th. Let's just highlight all the September 26th, please. Okay. Do you see something at the top? September 26th, 2016, runner's fee, $5? Yes, ma'am. All right. Do you see September 26th, 2016, in-room dining breakfast, $210.31? I see that. You see that. Okay. Let's take that down. Do you see September 26th, 2016, in-room dining, 107 and 84 cents? Do you see that? Yes, I do. Okay. And then below that, you have another in-room dining charge, same dates. 9/26, 2016, 102.77. You see that? Yes, ma'am. All right. Alrighty, so September 26, 2016, the next line is $344.65. Another in-room dining charge. Do you see that? Yes, I do. All right. Okay, so let's go down to the last line, September 27th page, please, last line. All right, do you see September 27th, 2016, in the room dining, $21.57? Yes, I do. Okay. Ma'am, Miss Bana, you agree that one person can't be in two places at the same time? In like theory? Yeah. You're not sure? Hard to answer that one. Miss Bana, you told us that you testified that Mr. Combs on September 27, 2016 came in Miss Ventura's house, hung you over the balcony, threw you into some furniture, and that you sustained several injuries. That's what you testified to the ladies and gentlemen of this jury. Did you not? Yes. Objection from the government. Hold on. Can we get some new questions, Miss Westmoreland? Yes. Ma'am, you testified that Mr. Combs caused you the injuries that you showed the ladies and gentlemen of this jury on September 26, 2016. That's what you testified, right? Objection, government. I'll rephrase the question, Your Honor. All right. Ma'am, you testified that Mr. Combs caused you the injuries on your leg, the neck, and your back on September 26, 2016. Isn't that true? Objection. May we have a sidebar? Yes, you may. So the government's concerns is that Miss Westmoreland is misstating the testimony here. Okay. Ms. Bana never testified that on September 26th, the defendant hung her over the balcony. We looked at the photographs with the metadata. She said that the photographs were taken around the time of September 26th, but I do not believe that Ms. Bana has said affirmatively that September 26th was the date that this happened. Ms. Westmoreland speaks. That's not true. I went over it with her. Okay, hold on. Ms. Westmoreland, says the court. So just to make sure I understand, if we went back and looked at the testimony, it indicated that the photograph was taken on that date. That indicates that the metadata and the documents that Ms. Westmoreland used, but Ms. Bana did not testify that the actual incident occurred on that date. She did not, says Ms. Miser, and she said the photograph was taken around that date. Around that date. No, that's not true, says Miss Westmoreland. She said it when you were questioning her and when I was questioning her. And this morning I waited because I knew it was coming. And I asked her about the photo. I said, you also interviewed with the government. You told them that this situation happened early in the morning. Miss Miser speaks. She said early in the morning. Miss Westmoreland speaks September 26th. I'll do it again. I'll be happy to. That's fine, says Miss Miser. Well, I heard agreement on something. So you have a problem with Miss Westmoreland just asking her whether the incident occurred on September 26th, right? That's a fine question, says Miss Miser. Let's get to the bottom of it. Yes? All right. I already did. Okay, Your Honor. Ms. Shapiro jumps in. We've already laid out the foundation. The testimony repeatedly, both on direct and cross, was the picture was taken on the date of the metadata, and those injuries were caused by the incident. Hold on, says the court. I don't know that was what the government just agreed to was any different than what Ms. Westmoreland you were actually asking in that last question. I think you asked her in a leading fashion. Isn't it true that the balcony incident that caused all these injuries occurred on September 26th? I believe that's pretty close to what your last question is. And I'm not hearing Ms. Smizer that she has any objection to you asking that question. Correct? Correct. Okay. Here's Miss Westmoreland. Mr. Combs did not cause the injuries that you showed us that we saw on the phone with the metadata from September 26, 2026, did he? I can't agree with you. You do agree with me that you gave the photo. Miss Westmoreland speaks. Can you pull up the photo one more time? Okay. Ma'am, you provided this photo to the government, didn't you? Yes. Okay. You understand that that metadata, you didn't create the metadata, did you? No. You gave this photo to the government with the metadata showing that this picture was taken on September 26, 2016. True? Yes. And you would agree with me that one person cannot be in California and in New York at the same time. My answer is still the same. In theory, yes. Ma'am, you came in here and you lied to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Isn't that true? I can't agree with you. I have no further questions, Your Honor. All right. Redirect. Ms. Shapiro asked for a sidebar before redirect. Okay, so they get into so Ms. Shapiro brings the issue. I apologize, Your Honor, but given that everything is happening in real time since Your Honor admitted the text messages with Ms. Quorum that we had the dispute about, we have discovered that we have two text message chains that we believe under Rule 106 should, in fairness, be considered at the time. So I just wanted to raise that. I don't know if the government was planning to introduce these right after the redirect, but I want to. Oh, so with this, they're kind of like, we're going to take a break before we introduce anything or look into any text messages. But they're going to continue with redirect of Miss Bana. So they do redirect, okay? Miss Bana, do you remember being shown certain notes during your cross-examination? Yes, ma'am. Before the defense counsel showed you those notes, had you ever seen them before? No. And do you know whether those notes are supposed to be an exact transcript of everything that happened at the meetings? I wouldn't know. Had you ever been asked to review them? Never. Had you ever been asked to check them for accuracy? Never been asked. Do you remember being asked on cross examination about talking to Cassie around the time of her lawsuit? Yes. So before Cassie filed her lawsuit in November of 2023, did you have a conversation with her about the lawsuit? Yes, I did. Did you have one conversation or multiple conversations before she filed the lawsuit? Just one. And in that conversation, what did Cassie ask you? My permission to use my name. And to use your name about what? The incident to put in her lawsuit. And what did you say to her in response? I said no. Before you saw Cassie's lawsuit, did you know what the information was going to be about in her complaint? Not at all. Did you know whether the complaint would include an account of what happened on the balcony? Sorry, could you say that again? Sorry, what did you say? Could you say that again? Yeah. Did you know that? Did you know whether Cassie's complaint before it was filed was going to include statements about what happened on a balcony? I had an idea because she asked for my name, and you told her not to include it in her complaint, right? Objection, Westmoreland, leading, sustain. What did you tell Cassie in response to her asking if she could include that in her complaint? To please not put my name. Did you end up reading the complaint after it was filed? Yes. And what did you do when you read the complaint after you read the complaint? Sorry. At some point, I hit her up to tell her it was incorrect. What were you telling her was incorrect? Like it wasn't a hotel and Tiffany wasn't there. So to be clear, in that conversation after the complaint had been filed, were you and Cassie trying to make up a story, or were you telling Cassie what actually happened to you? Objection, leading, Miss Westmoreland. Okay, sustain. Were you telling Cassie what happened to you? Objection, that's sustain. What were you telling Cassie about? Exactly what happened to me. And did you have any doubts that Mr. Combs held you up on a balcony? Could you rephrase? Do you have any doubts that Mr. Combs held you up on a balcony? I have no doubt. When Cassie filed her lawsuit in November of 2020, had you told her that you were going to sue Mr. Combs? No. In fact, November of 2023, when Cassie filed her lawsuit, had you even decided to file your own lawsuit yet? Not at all. You didn't even, did you hire a lawyer then, or was it a few months later? A few months later. And when you filed your lawsuit, was what you said about the balcony incident the same or different from what was in Cassie's lawsuit? It was different. And are you getting any money from testifying here today? Not at all. Why are you here today? To seek justice? Miss Bama, do you remember talking about the balcony incident on your cross-examination? Yes. And everything you said today truthful regarding your best recollection of what happened on the balcony that night? Yes. Do you remember every single detail of what happened? Not every single detail. Are there certain details that you will never forget? 100%. Will you never forget Mr. Combs holding you up on the 17th floor balcony? Objection. Leading. That's sustained. What will you not forget? I will never forget him holding me on that balcony. How did you feel when he was holding you on that balcony? Terrified. Miss Banna, do you remember being asked about what you told the government in certain meetings? Could you explain that? Do you remember being asked on cross examination about what you told the government in various meetings? Yes. And in those meetings, did you answer the questions that the government asked? Yes. And over the course of those meetings, did the government ask you about every topic that you've talked about today? Not every topic. Every time you were asked about the balcony incident, did you tell the government that Mr. Combs held you up on the balcony? Sorry, could you say that again? Every time you were asked in those meetings about the balcony incident, did you tell the government that Mr. Combs held you up on a balcony? 100%. And every time you were asked about the balcony incident, did you tell the government that Mr. Combs was screaming at you? You know what the F you did. Objection from Westmoreland. That's overruled. Yes, ma'am. And every time you were asked about the balcony incident, did you tell the government that Mr. Combs threw you onto the balcony furniture? Yes. Miss Bama, so cross examination, you were asked some questions about you and Cassie's party. And do you remember that? Yes, I do. When you say party, what do you mean? Do you mean using it could mean multiple things? In some contexts, do you mean using rugs? Yes. Miss Banna, do you remember being asked a cross-examination about demand letters that your first lawyer sent? Yeah. Did you write those demand letters, or did your lawyer write them? The lawyer wrote them. Did you review the demand letters before they were sent? Not all of them. After they were sent, did you at some point find out what they said? Yes. And were those accurate? No. And when you learn about these inaccuracies, what did you do? Fired him. Do you remember being asked on cross examination about the demand letter saying that Mr. Combs squeezed your area so hard that you had bruises? I remember. And was that what you had said? No, ma'am. And do you remember being asked on cross examination about your complaint alleging essay? Yes, I remember. Ms. Banna, when you described that Mr. Combs did, when he came up behind you on the balcony, do you use hand motions to explain? Yes. And did you do that in your first meeting with the government? I don't remember. Have you ever done that in other meetings with the government? Yes. Could you please use your hands to explain what Mr. Combs did when he first came up behind you? First, they came up like this, and it was under my armpits, right here. And it was under your armpits, right here. And then what did he do? Came down, and I put my hand back, but he lifted me up. And so when he was moving his hand up and down your body, where did his hands go? Came down this way. So where they on your areas? Yes. And Miss Bama, are you a lawyer? No, ma'am. Did your lawyers hear of those facts and draft a complaint on your behalf? Yes. Miss Bana, do you remember Miss Westmoreland asking you about the photos with your photos with your neck brace? Yes. Why were you wearing that neck brace? Because my neck hurt and the chiropractor showed me what to do. And did you wear the neck brace more or on more occasions than just when you took that photo? Yes. Why did your neck hurt, Miss Bana? Because I got slammed into the furniture. By whom? By Puff. Miss Bana, do you remember being asked about the date of the balcony incident? Yes, I do. Do you have an independent memory of the exact date, aside from relying on metadata on your phone? Yes. You do? Could you could you explain independent? Yeah. Do you, setting aside your phone, know the date, the exact date that happened, or do you just know around when that happened? Objection. Sustain. Ms. Bennett, do you yourself know the exact date of the balcony incident occurred? No. Regardless of that, why do you not know the exact date? Because it was a while ago. Okay? Regardless of the exact date, do you know it? Do you have any doubt that Mr. Combs held you up on the 17th floor balcony? I have no doubt. No further questions, Your Honor. Okay. Anything further, Miss Westmoreland? Yes, Your Honor. So we have a recross examination. Lawyers filed a lawsuit on your behalf claiming essay. You didn't fire them, did you? No. Ma'am, you had multiple interviews with the government about the alleged balcony situation, true? Yes. And you gave the government the pictures of the pictures of your leg injury, true? Yes, I gave it. Um and in a follow-up interview, you gave the government the picture of your leg injury with your metadata, true? Objection from Ms. Smizer. Grounds, the court asked. I think the objection is overruled. Miss Westmoreland, why don't you re-ask the question? Thank you, Your Honor. In a follow-up interview with the government, you gave the government a picture of your leg injury with your metadata. True? I gave them pictures. Okay. And you testified that all of your injuries happened on the same day. True? Yes. Okay, ma'am. When you filed a lawsuit against Mr. Combs, you weren't rich, were you? No. You were suing Mr. Combs. You suing Mr. Combs is an opportunity to become a millionaire. Isn't that true? I can't agree with that. You can't? No, ma'am. Okay. As you testified today, you don't want to say anything to mess up your lawsuit. True? Could you rephrase that, please? As you testify here today, you don't want to say anything to mess up your lawsuit. Isn't that true? I'm only speaking on what I know, ma'am. Okay. Ma'am, you testified today you're seeking 10 million. Isn't that true? I'm seeking whatever the judge finds is correct. And you're asking, hey, judge or a court, to find you in favor for 10 million. Isn't that true? My lawyer wrote that number down. And you reviewed your complaint. I asked you that earlier. Isn't that true? Yes, I did. So you know that that's what's being asked for on your behalf. True? I don't understand what's being asked. It means a lot to you to hope to become a millionaire soon. True? Not at all. You don't care about becoming a millionaire? I care about justice. And justice for you, justice to be served. And justice for you is money? No, ma'am. 10 million to be exact. No, ma'am. I have no further questions, Judge. Okay. Anything further? No, Your Honor, for Miss Miser. Okay. And this is when the judge calls in a break. Of course, we have Jane Doe to review, which we will be reviewing clearly in another video. But it is late night, and I'm hoping to edit this quickly so it premieres tonight. Hit the like button. Shout out to anybody in the chat. Tell me what you guys think about Bana's testimony.